people. It's been very long time, right, since I posted any story video. I know you all have been asking also, which is why this. And now this is a story that I loved performing every time I was on stage or telling to an audience. This story is from the lap of Himalayas, or should I say Himachal? Oh ho ho, ah, oh ho ho, ah, पानी पीना हो, ओ पानी पीना हो, ओ राजा का मेलूरी बाई आसा पानी पीना हो, ओ रोटी काणियो, ओ रोटी काणियो, ओ तेरी सो तारा टीका टाका आसा रोटी काणियो, ओ हो आ, ओ हो आ. Very long time ago, when our grandparents were little boys and little girls, there ruled a king in the land of snows. And he was a very wistful king who liked to have things done his way all the time. And every time a rule that he imposed was broken, he went into a fit of rage, and there was a very harsh punishment that was given away to people who broke the rule. But he had some crazy ideas running in his mind all the time. For example, suddenly one day he felt that all the men in his kingdom should shave their head off, while he himself had a beautiful lustrous hair in his head. He wished that all the men in his kingdom shaved their heads. Now, the older men in the kingdom did not mind much, but the younger men, who liked to boast their locks, were not very happy with this. But did they have a choice? Not at all, because it was either their hair or their neck, and they preferred to lose their hair. The other time, he decided that all the people in his kingdom, all his subjects, should be wearing a scarf around their neck to show that they all belong to this kingdom. Crazy, right? But people had to follow. And now this king suddenly wanted or had a desire to listen to a story that had no end. And so one day he just went to his chief minister and said, "Oh, my dear chief minister, I had this sudden desire of listening to a story with no end. Could you tell me one?" And now the chief minister was a very clever man. Quickly, he just told the king, "Oh, my dear king, I don't think you should be asking me. I would suggest that you announce this as a competition to the kingdom and tell them that there is a prize that would be rewarded to the one who is going to win in this competition. A prize that would be a solid brick of gold equivalent to their weight." How? Why not? I would be able to listen to a variety of stories then, the king thought, and the next day the announcement was made. Now, but some people were very clever because they already knew about the king. But there were a few greedy people in the kingdom too who would wanted to try their luck. And they came and sat before the king in the hopes of getting a solid brick of gold equivalent to their weight. But the king was a very clever man too. He would not give away a solid brick of gold just like that. He had a plan. He would wait for the storyteller to start his story and get into his story, and that usually took about 5 minutes. And after the 5th minute, he would just ask some random questions to the storyteller, as in, the crow in the story, was it black or white? Or the heroine in the story, was she really married or not? Or what was the hero's grandfather's name? Can you please tell again? All these nonsense questions actually put off the mood of the storyteller, and they would eventually stop. And the moment the storyteller stops, he would be thrown into the dungeon. This became an amusement for the king. Every day there was somebody who was called to tell a story, and they ended up in the jail. Until one day, the soldiers just came to the king and said, "Oh Lord, there is a little boy waiting at the palace gates. He's been waiting there for 3 days and 3 nights and he's refusing to leave the palace gates. He says that he wants an audience with you." The king was surprised. "All right, call him in. Do you like to eat something? Do you like to drink something? What is it you want from this great king?" The boy just looked at the king and he said, "I don't want anything. I'm here for the competition. I would like to tell you a story that has no end." "Oh, but we don't put little children in jail, you know. I'm not such a bad king after all," he said. No, I'm pretty sure I'm here to tell you a story that has no end. I just have one condition, king. Whenever I pause for a second, I just want you to ask me, only one question. And that would be, Phir. That one word is all you can talk in between my stories. If I hear you telling anything else, then it's not my problem. I would stop, and it is you who's going to be not getting the chance to listen to a great story. And now this built up the curiosity in the king. He really wanted to listen what that great story could be. And so he called the little boy, who was just 10 years of age, and they started the storytelling. The boy started, "There was once a king who ruled the land of snows." And he paused, looked at the king, and the king went, "Phir." He was very happy because that year his crops had given so much. And there was so much wheat. He decided that he would store some for his people if at all there was a famine that attacked his kingdom. Phir? And so he called out to the soldiers to build a nice godown. Phir? The soldiers built a godown. Oh, now at this point of time, the king was forced to tell him, "Oh God, don't you know that the soldiers will have to obey the king after all?" But he just stopped himself from talking so much because he was allowed to tell only one word, and that word was, that's right, Phir. The soldiers built the godown with just one door. There were no windows at all, and they filled the wheat up to the roof of the big room. Phir, but they made only one mistake. Phir, there was just a tiny hole in the wall of the room. Phir, one day or one evening, there was a bird that was flying back home. Phir, the bird happened to see the tiny hole and he just went to peep and see what was inside. Phir, he was so surprised to see a room full of wheat grains. Phir, he just picked one grain and went Phir. Phir, seeing that bird, there was another bird which came in and he picked another grain. Phir, Phir. And then, no, that was not allowed. Phir, another bird. Phir, Phir. Phir, another bird, another grain of wheat. Phir, Phir. Phir, Phir. Phir, Phir. This went on for 3 days and 3 nights, and it had to go on because the room had so many grains of wheat in it after all. And now after 3 days and 3 nights, the king was really bored to death. The boy, he was very clever. He just went on and on doing purr, purr, purr all the time. When the next purr happened, the king just shouted, "Enough, stop! I agree that you have won this competition. Now take this brick of gold, you, and just get away." The boy took his brick of gold and he walked away. From that day, they say that the king became really humble. Oh ho ho, ah, oh ho ho, ah. Thank you so much for traveling with me to the land of snows. See you soon. Ta ta!